Hello everyone, my name is Ansh Agarwal. I had the opportunity to contribute to this impactful project, the Industrial Carbon Footprint Calculator, which is now live and available at oer.enviraj.com. I will walk you through how to use this tool to calculate your organization carbon emission. We will go step by step through each section and I will explain what each input means. So let's get started. First, we have the fuel use section. This is where we enter the amount of different types of fuel used annually. The first row is for petrol. Enter the total liters of petrol your industry uses per year. For example, if we use 1000 liters annually. Next is diesel, also in liters per year, just like petrol. Enter the total diesel used by your industry in a year. Here, for your better understanding, I have already input the values. You can adjust according to your industry use. Then we have coal, but this is measured in tons per year. Enter the total amount of coal used by your industry. And finally, natural gas is measured in SCM per year. That's standard cubic meters. Enter how much natural gas your industry consume annually. Here I have already entered 1200. Once you enter the data, the TCO2e column on the right will automatically show the carbon emission from each fuel type, and thus TCO2e stands for tons carbon dioxide equivalent, where emission factor is predefined and verified from the official sources like IPCC. Now, moving to the second section, process emission. These are emission that comes directly from industrial process, not from fuel or energy. First, select your industry type. From the drop down, I will select cement. Here you can select iron and steel, aluminum, and you can customize as per your industry need. I have used cement. Based on your industry, an emission factor will appear here automatically. This is the amount of CO2 emitted per ton of product produced. Now, enter your annual production in tons. This is the total output your industry produces in a year. And here, input the fugitive emission, which is the percentage of emission that escape unintentionally during the process. It usually a smaller number. Here I have entered it 2%. The tool will calculate the total CO2 equivalent from your process emission. As you can see here, TCO2 2.6 and 0.052. Next is refrigeration and air conditioning emission under scope 1. Here, select the refrigerant type used in your AC or refrigeration system. For example, I will choose HFC134A. You can choose any of these as per your industry need. Now, enter the amount refilled in kilograms per year. This is how much refrigerant was topped up or added in a year. And based on the type you choose, the GWP global warming potential will autofill. These numbers represent how harmful that refrigerant is compared to CO2. As you can see, the emission is calculated by multiplying the amount refilled by GWP. As you can see, now let's look at electricity emission. Enter the grid power your industry consumes in a year in kilowatt hours. The grid emission factor is usually pre-filled and tells you how much CO2 is emitted per unit or electricity used. Based on the source of electricity, the emission will be calculated automatically using your input and the emission factor. Next is wastewater treatment, also part of scope 1 emission. Enter the wastewater volume in cubic meter your industry treats annually. BOD stands for biochemical oxygen demand. Enter the average BOD level in milligram per liter. It shows how much organic material is in your wastewater. I have already input the values as you can see. And finally, we come to carbon sequestration. This section allows you to subtract emission based on carbon offset activities. First, enter the number of trees absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. So they help reduce your total footprint. If you have carbon credits, which means you have invested in certified emission reduction projects, enter the total amount in tons of CO2 equivalent here. Once all your inputs are ready, click the calculate button as you can see here. Now, gross emission, total emission from all activities as you can see here, and net emission, which is your actual carbon footprint after reduction. Emission breakdown. After entering the values and calculating the emission, the pie chart also appear, showcase the emission breakdown across different operational categories, including fuel, process, RAC, which is refrigeration and air conditioning, electricity, and wastewater. This is breakdown help in visualizing which segment contribute the most to overall emissions, enabling better targeted sustainability intervention. And that's it. This is how you use the industrial carbon footprint calculator. It is simple yet powerful tool to measure your emissions, identify major sources, and start planning for reduction. And this all work is done under the guidance of our mentor, Mr. Rajdeep Pandey. Thank you for your watching.